Trump, Cruz, Rubio, or Paul? Whose tax plan topples them all? Well, the Tax Foundation has scored 7 of the leading 2016 GOP presidential candidates' tax plans. And according to them, it's Marco Rubio's plan that was really the clear choice in terms of simplification of the tax code, generating economic growth, and finally increasing our wages. Trump's plan, they say, will cost the government over $10 trillion in 10 years. Of course, Donald Trump insists that the plan would be revenue neutral. So the economic growth that we would get when it's factored in would make it okay. And then, of course, Rand Paul is saying, you know what? Forget about all that revenue neutral stuff. Back with me, Katrina, Pierson, and Mercedes Schlapp. All right, Mercedes, listen, we all, I think, agree we want lower taxes, so there's not going to be any debate there. Where the debate comes from is how low should they go and how realistic is it to grow the economy at low tax rates. Which plan do you think right now, of the ones that you've seen, probably makes the most sense?
Well, you know, I think Senator Marco Rubio has introduced a very strong plan in terms of ensuring that those, especially in the low-income Americans, receive a lot of these benefits. We know that there could be increased economic growth as well as a lot more business investment. But, Charles, we also need to keep in mind, and I think this is something that is going to be applied throughout in these tax plans, is the fact that they're going to have to cut government spending, and they're going to have to be practical when they're dealing with how Congress is going to deal with this. We know that there's bipartisan support for tax reform, but again, how realistic can it be? Are they going to oversimplify the tax code in a way that it doesn't serve the broad, diverse Americans out there? Yeah,
but that's a term they just kind of throw out, right? Tax reform means something different than everyone else. Katrina, here's the thing. According to the Tax Foundation, Donald Trump's plan would generate 5.3 million jobs. Rubio's 2.7 million jobs. So it seems like a no-brainer. The flip side of that, of course, is that they say Trump's plan would add at least $10 trillion to the deficit. But 5 million jobs, maybe that does generate enough economic activity to offset that.
Well, at least in the short term. But look, Charles, the Tax Foundation, they didn't say which model they use. I mean, they're looking at a very dynamic tax plan from a very static measure. Are they looking at keeping spending levels the same? To Mercedes' point, there's going to have to be some cuts in spending. But Trump's tax plan also incorporates bringing back jobs from overseas, a balanced budget, and more importantly, renegotiating the trade deals.
I want to bring in Richard Goodstein, he's a Democratic strategist as well. Richard, I know you love all of these plans, but which one do you like the most?
So they all have something in common, Charles. Like the one you were just talking about with Trump, they radically reduce revenue. They're all based on the premise that tax cuts generate economic growth. And now we've actually had a controlled experiment about that. Bill Clinton had tax increases, most robust economy we've ever had.
He also had tax cuts. He also moved to the middle after the GOP took over.
George, hold on a second. George, and you know what? I give credit. He did cut a good deal with the congressional Republicans. Hats off to both parties. George W. Bush, massive tax cuts. And what did we have? We had some modest growth and then the worst economic collapse we'd had in, since the Depression. So, look, I give credit, trying to come up with something. The other thing I would say about them all is they're all reduce the taxes on the wealthy. Now, if you poll the public, does the public think that the wealthy are getting screwed in this economy? I don't think that's what the rant about income inequality is all about.
Although if you sit down with someone and really show them how much people are paying, they're not too upset after that. But I understand the politics of envy always jumps into it. But I was just saying beyond the political aspect of it, beyond making people upset, Rand Paul, I would also tell people to take a look at his plan, because they say it would actually generate almost $800 billion in revenue and create 4.3 million jobs. And he doesn't care about being revenue neutral. I think that's a slick thing that both sides use to throw goodies in there. Forget revenue neutral, create economic prosperity. Guys, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.